Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of the OlymPodcast. I am your host, Olympus. It's such a pleasure and honor to be doing this episode because I don't have one, I have but two very, very special guests with me today. I have ATK Tom. How are you doing,
Hello
Tom?
there. I'm doing great. How about you?
I am doing fantastic. My other guest today is Odin from Memento Mori. Odin, welcome.
Thank you. Thank
Okay, could you just give me a quick audio check? Just say something. Anyone?
Test, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, it seems like my OBS is not picking up your audio, so let me just go into a quick break and fix that, and then we'll be right back.
Okay.
As well, but it's not picking up you guys.
you. No clue. I never used
Well,
it.
but I mean, it's picking up your audio to
Okay, welcome back, everyone. I apologize for that short technical break, experiencing some difficulties with my OBS, but we're back anyway. As I was saying, I was just introducing my guests. I have very special guests with me today. The first one being Tom from ATK. Tom, welcome to the stream.
Hi,
How are you?
happy to be here.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very nicely. How about yourself?
I am doing fantastic, and this, of course, wouldn't be the Meraki Major edition if I didn't have the winners of the Meraki Major itself. Odin from Memento Mori, welcome.
Thank you.
It's such an honor, I have to say. It's such a pleasure for me to be hosting the two of you today. And I am excited. I cannot wait to get into this episode. So, as usual, all the topics of discussion are going to be in the description below, as are going to be all the links to all the stuff that I'll mention in the stream. Welcome so much. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and let's get started. So, right before we get into it, I have to say I had another guest who was going to be Stefan from Repress Esports. He's they are the winners of the Meraki Major PS4 side, but he was unfortunately not able to make it today. So we'll have to do it with who we have. Awesome. Gentlemen, the format is going to be 1 hour, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and finish the rest. Sound good to you guys?
Yeah, sounds very good.
Awesome. So, Tom, you started your esports career when you were around 16, is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Cool. That's, I guess, kind of, in my opinion, since I'm old, and by old I mean 23, to me that seems kind of like a young age to be getting into esports, but then I assume that's the average age that people get into gaming, esports, I guess. I don't know. I'd like to see some stats on that. But anyway,
Yeah,
you started playing for a German team.
yeah. So my background, I didn't start gaming at 16.
Mm-hmm.
I started gaming at like 12 or something. So I have lots of experience in that.
Uh-huh.
And then one of my friends in a different game introduced me to Siege, which I've been playing since the open beta.
Wow.
And then after some time, I got asked if I wanted to join a team and play in a small tournament, and I accepted. And then since then, I've been just kinda it was a long time until I left that team, because we just always made role changes, made organization changes, won some stuff, lost some stuff, the usual. And then people had to go back to university and couldn't play as much anymore, started to work, and so it's very unfortunate. Yeah.
Well, okay. You've been playing since the open beta, you say?
Yeah.
Wow, you're an OG, huh?
I'm an OG.
Okay, Odin, how about you? How did you get started in esports?
Well, I started also first season of Rainbow Six. That was basically my first game I actually started playing properly.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I didn't play any video games except some GTA maybe, but not properly.
Mm-hmm.
And then shortly after getting good 1-2 years into the game, I started watching Pro League and stuff, and that's when I also started to play also some on PS4. I started on PS4 by the way, so there's when I started joining some PS4 German teams also. But then 2-3 years ago I switched to PC, and there I tried also to get into teams, but didn't really work out because most of the tier 4 teams, the bad teams, you join them, 1 month later you disband again, try to join another team, and it never really works out. And yeah, that's how I got into the game.
Okay. Awesome. So, Tom, back in your player days, you were a hard support for your team. Is that so?
In the beginning, yes, I was.
So
Because
you were the Thermite main, the Thatcher main.
yeah, no, I was the Thermite main,
Mm-hmm.
just hard breaching, just opening stuff up. But then as I progressed as a player, and it changed, I changed as well, and I went from a basic just Thermite main over to an IGL. So first shot caller and then IGL. Played more of a flex role then. And during the Ying Glass meta, which was what, a year ago now, I played Ying mainly. Like every round, I just played Ying. And even like my setup was Ying shotgun. And
Shotgun?
then, yeah,
The Ying shotgun?
yes.
Wow.
Back then, that was the meta.
Okay.
So yeah. So yeah, I started out as a hard breach, and then I evolved. Like I changed roles as I evolved as a player.
Okay, so you mentioned you moved over from the hard support into more of a flex and shot calling role.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Odin, that's the role you currently fulfill at Memento Mori.
Thing is funny is like I also started like playing like Thermite and stuff, and then I also joined the EGL, and I also was Ying main for like 2
Wow.
years. So yeah, that's kind of funny.
What a coincidence. Well, okay.
Now I'm still EGL now, but no Ying main anymore, sadly.
Thankfully.
I'm just waiting for Tachanka to become the new meta.
Oh no.
Okay, so personally, as an IGL, I know it's not an easy role to fulfill, and this is something that Odin had mentioned in our previous conversations, that as an IGL you kind of have to think for the whole team, which is something I hadn't considered it in those exact words, but it's exactly true. And on top of being an IGL, you're the captain of Memento Mori's PC Siege team, Odin, yeah?
More or less. Yeah. I started just to do everything for them. That's behind the scene, as Julian, our old captain, had to stop playing because he broke his arm.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and then I just started to do what. Yeah. Then I just turned the captain.
Okay, so being the captain, being the IGL as well, it must be pretty challenging to kind of balance all those things on your plate.
Yeah, I have not much free time if you consider Rainbow Six not free time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I also don't do a lot of stuff anyways, apart of school, so I have the time and I enjoy it and I want to win. So
What would you say is the most challenging part of trying to fulfill all those roles? Odin?
yeah, I'm thinking right now.
Oh, okay.
I think the hardest thing is the EGL, because sometimes you get into situations where you don't even need to know what you need to do or what the team needs to do to win. You need
Mm-hmm.
to like, a part of that you on the team as a captain. Don't like break up, so don't get angry at each other. And yeah, like for example on the Odyssey game on Consulate, I think we were like 4-2 down or 6-2 down or something like that. And like I could notice like everyone was not really happy about it. Everyone thought already we lost, but then like I did my best. I tried my best too. Even though I also thought the same, we're gonna lose. I did my best, so they don't think we're actually gonna lose. And at the end it worked out. We won. But yeah, sometimes you get into really challenging situations and pretty hard.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that as an IGL myself, especially when you have players who are rather emotional, and
Yeah.
and you're, like you say, 4-2 down and people are getting tilted and getting demotivated. Tom, as a coach, how challenging is it to motivate people when they're finding themselves in those losing situations?
Well, as a coach, it's not as hard as an IGL.
Mm-hmm.
Because where the IGL is actively losing, I'm only watching my players lose. So I can stay motivated, but it's still difficult, like how to get the mindset across. Because there's two ways. You can either calm them down and just be like, okay guys, rely on the strat, we know our stuff, just do as we planned. But there's the saying, who was it? Like some English general said that, no strategy survives contact with the enemy. So as soon as you get into the map and into the game, all your strats are basically useless.
Wow.
Because the enemies can always do something that they've never done before. And an example is what Odin and Memento Mori did in their game against us in Clubhouse. We were very proud of our defense on that map normally, but then they just played Ying and rushed us, and we had never even thought of that. Like that's my mistake, and that's when strats don't work anymore. And then the other way to calm people down is, instead of actually calming them down, getting them hyped again. So they get angry, but they use that anger to win.
So is that tough love, or what would you call it?
Yeah, definitely tough love.
Okay, just give me a second. I need to open the door for my cat. There she goes. Okay, to all of you in the chat saying that I should increase my guest's volume a little bit, I've placed them on 200% Discord volume, so I'm not quite sure what's going on in my audio today. So I do apologize for that. Hopefully we can continue to have these very interesting conversations. So anyway, Tom, how long have you been on ATK as a coach?
As a coach, including trialing out, for about 4 months now.
Wow, okay. And I think we've already touched on the distinction between a coach and an IGL, but if you don't mind going over that one more time, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Basically, my job is to help the IGL. I'm here to lay out a basic plan so that the IGL doesn't have to micromanage everything in game. And that way, he can only focus on adapting the plan, instead of making the whole plan up himself and then also needing to adapt to the situation. It clears up communications and gives people a purpose on what to do, and then everybody knows all the time what they're supposed to do at any point in the round. And through that, you can make the whole team more organized and create a sort of structure that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Okay, awesome. And just going back to Odin, you said since you are kind of the captain, you're the IGL as well, your work involves coming up with strategies and working with the coach. Is that so?
Yeah, like we have a coach, he's also from Germany. And like basically both of us fulfill the same role. Sometimes he prepares us for a map, sometimes I do it. And yeah, we work pretty much together, and it's like we prep, we watch them play, we think what could we do different that they wouldn't expect. And
Okay, so on Tom's end, what does that coach IGL relationship look like? Like when the two of you sit down to work together, what do you actually do?
Well, the way it works now, because we had some structural changes, is that I work on my own and just prepare strategies, like especially defense ones, because that's where you can really strat, and just send them through in a Word document to everybody, and then people read it, people ask questions about it throughout the day, and I answer them. And then in the evening, we sit together, we dry run, and then we scrim. And then during the dry run, I can give some more precise, okay, no, this shield must go 10 centimeters to the left, and stuff like that. And then afterwards, during the scrim, we actually see if the strat works, and then we can make adaptation as needed. So it's not really I work with the IGL, but my work work is with the team, but it helps the IGL.
Okay, awesome. I think that it's really important for myself as well as probably many other people who would want to know what exactly goes on behind the scenes in planning and just coaching a team in general. Because I'm just a curious person. I always like to know how things work behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so moving on, uh, it wouldn't be the Meraki Major edition if we didn't actually talk about the Meraki Major. So now that we're a little bit more acquainted with our guests, let's go and talk about the event. It happened 2 weeks ago at this point. I'm kind. It ended 2 weeks ago at this point. I apologize for not having this episode out sooner, but last weekend was it was very hectic. It was very busy, so we had to reschedule it to today. Now, anyway, when the Meraki Major was announced, Odin, why did Memento Mori decide to participate?
Well, first of all, like 2-3 weeks before the Meraki Major, we had our roster changes with AML, Pancake, and Fish joining.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought, yeah, let's go. Like, finally, there's a tournament. We can prove how good we are. We
Mm-hmm.
just said, yeah, it's been a long time since we played anything. Let's do it. And then we just played it.
Okay, so you guys were out to, let's say, make a name for yourselves.
Yeah, basically with a new roster, and also make some promotion because we're gonna get picked up by an org. So that was also really important to let them see who the best teams are in SA and which teams the org should pick up.
Mm. Mm-hmm. How about ATK?
We also picked up a figure from old Frantic 6, the same team that Adam and Fish were on. And we picked him up like a month before the Meraki Major. And so the Meraki Major was our first tournament that we could play, and that's why we wanted to play it. And we got invited to just play, so they were just like, hey, we want you guys to play. So we said yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was also like a proving ground for us to see how the team stacks up in a real tournament with real pressure against other teams playing to their full potential and not just scrims.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So both of you have mentioned that before the tournament you had picked up a new roster or had made some roster changes. I can assume that it was rather challenging. That the change in the team, it at some point messes up the synergy. So I assume it was rather challenging for you guys to prepare again with such little time.
Yeah, for us, from Memento Mori, as we changed like more than 50% of the whole team. Like, we were only
Wow.
2 people left of the original squad.
Wow.
So it was like basically a completely new team. And yeah, it was pretty hard. I think we scrimmed like during 2 weeks just because of the 1 week was full of low shedding. So really, we really had almost no prep time. So yeah, we were nowhere close to our full potential yet. But we still managed to win, so we showed how good we actually are. And, I couldn't believe, like I would have, like wait, I can't talk. I know like what would have happened if we were actually like playing like for already 2 or 3 months together.
Wow.
Would have been on the next level, I think.
You guys had I don't know, I lose the words, a show-stopping performance with that little preparation, and you're saying you weren't even in your final form.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine how much on fire you guys would have been if you had like proper time to prepare.
Yeah.
It's hectic, man. The load shedding in South Africa, I don't know if it affected the ATK squad in terms of preparation challenges.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. It cut down on time that we actually had to speak as a team. That's also because one of our players worked like 10 hours a day and then only had time like between 8 and 10, and then was tired during that, so we didn't really have proper time. And then load shedding just messed everything up even more, especially with scrims, because instead of having 5 players, we need to have no load shedding. You need to have 10 players now who have to
Mm-hmm.
have no load shedding. And organizing scrim was nearly impossible.
Ooh,
I feel like during that week, we maybe scrimmed once or twice.
wow. And challenges aside, you guys did do some preparation because for an event and a prize pool as big as the Meraki Major, I assume you guys did a lot of preparation to get ready. Odin?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Tom, sorry, go
Because
ahead.
because we just picked up a new player,
Mm-hmm.
we needed to like come up with new strategies to implement him and new roles, and so everything changed a bit. And then it was very challenging because of the lack of time and the pressure we were under to perform.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the end, you see what happened. We didn't prepare hard enough, and we got beat by someone who prepared more.
Yeah, Odin, how about Memento Mori? What kind of preparation did you guys put into going into the Meraki Major, all challenges aside?
Well, basically, we just did our like default stuff to get the players into synergy and roles. But even until we used the first couple of matches in the group stages like as basically as scrims to still practice our like synergy and all this stuff. We didn't do nothing special.
Mm-hmm.
And then our proper preparation started after, like maybe like before the match against Odyssey was our little small preparation, because we also didn't have that much time. And then for the ATK match, everyone really wanted to win against them, so we had 2 days of preparation. We wanted to scrim, but because of timing, that didn't work. So the only thing we could do is like dry run. So we dry run like 3 hours one day, and then we dry run before the match 1 or 2 hours again.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate to you guys having challenges in screaming because as I'd mentioned in previous episodes and on my social media in general, in Kenya there isn't much of a Rainbow Six scene, let alone an esports scene. So finding just five people at the very minimum who want to be committed and want to be competitive is super difficult. So organizing a scrim is basically pointless when there are only 3 people. Um, I can definitely see your perspective. I can definitely see where you're coming from in terms of challenges uh, going into the Meraki Major. So, my initial impressions of the Meraki Major, 10 out of 10. I have to say their production quality was just on point. Their casters were lekker as well. And someone who's on social media a lot, I appreciated how much social media presence those guys had. It just seemed like a very professionally produced event. I don't know if Tom you'd agree with me.
No, absolutely. The event was it was organized so well.
Mm-hmm.
The production was great. The streams were fun to watch. Yeah, it was great. It seemed like an official like Ubisoft event,
For
even though
sure.
it wasn't.
For sure. I bet Odin will
Yeah.
have pretty much the same thoughts.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. It felt like a pro league or tournament. The production was great.
For sure. I was watching them do the pre-tournament show where they were doing the live draw of the pools and they had like 120 something viewers in their Twitch and I was just like hats off to you guys. You won in terms of the hype game. They really hyped people a lot for that event. So talking about hype, were there any moments that stood out to you guys in the tournament in general?
For us, our first bracket match against Odyssey. It was a really hot match, and at the end when we actually won, everyone was so happy. Everyone was screaming, I don't know, at 12 or 11 o'clock in the middle of the night. Woke up our parents sleeping next to us, but we were so happy and hyped. And then of course the match against ATK. That was the next level thing for us.
How about you, Tom?
For us, like, our first game was against Regicide, and I mean, they came second, so that means something, and it was like a sigh of relief. Okay, yeah, our preparation worked out because we won that game, and that quite decisively. And then afterwards, we had some time, like, to just play the game. The other bracket matches, they forfeited, so we had off days and stuff like that. And we even got a free bypass into the semi-final. And we watched the Odyssey game as an entire team, and we gasped at that combat. That was amazing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the end where we played against Momentum Mori itself, it was like, if I take the emotional side out of it, it was amazing to see a team execute strategies and come up with completely new strategies and counter-strat us to such an extent. It was really great to see. But then, of course, I was on the other side of that, and it was not that nice of a feeling, because we were just beat. There was nothing we could do. Yeah.
Would you say that that was your toughest game?
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay, Odin, how about you guys? What was like the standout moment for you over the whole tournament?
For sure the ATK match. We beat the kings of SA, and then like so decisively. That was like, yeah. I think that's like basically history in our 6th siege in SA now. Because they got never beaten properly, and we did it. And so we also showed that everyone else can also do it, but they work hard for it. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So let me just check my streaming software real quick. We've been streaming for about 39 minutes. It seemed a lot longer than that. Anyway, we'll continue. So let's move on to the next section, the drama that goes on Twitter with regards to Rainbow Six in South Africa. Now, I spend a fair bit of time on Twitter, so I see a lot of the drama that's going on there, but the only thing is I can never quite follow it because I always find things after the fact. I don't know if you guys keep your ears to the ground with regards to that. Tom?
Yeah, for me at least, I enjoy Twitter drama so much.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, there were 2 separate dramas going on at the same time.
Which ones?
There was some of our players, especially James and also I, like bantering with Momentum Mori.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a great warm-up for the finals. And I mean, of course, we didn't mean that, because we knew, okay, Momentum Mori is like in our eyes at that point, the 2nd best team in Set A. And that's why we lost, because we thought they're 2nd. But in reality, they were just miles above us. And then so we got flamed after that because we lost.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there was also the whole Meraki's team, that incident, where I don't know the specifics, but they got disqualified from the tournament and didn't partake anymore. And then there was a whole drama about that, and then they started calling us out, saying we got them disqualified, even though we had nothing to do with that. So yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the Twitter drama was really amazing. And
Yeah.
it was so fun bantering with Odin specifically with the counter strats to the counter strats to the counter strats.
Yeah, I also enjoyed it a lot. I think Twitter is all about the drama. If not, why would you use Twitter? No, it's not fun without the drama.
I know, right? I know. So there was someone who was complaining about the Meraki, one of the Meraki players being rude, and I don't know. I didn't personally follow along with a lot of this drama because it was just too much of it. But I found a couple of tweets and I linked them in the description so that if you want to check them out for yourself, feel free to do so. So it's Ducky. Ducky was a player on Memento Mori during the tournament,
No,
wasn't he?
Meraki.
Meraki, sorry, yeah, Meraki, yeah. And there was drama, as Tom alluded to, where I guess there were suspicions of him being a cheat or something of those of that caliber. And I tried to follow that along because I was like, wow, cheating? That's a pretty big allegation. And Ducky came out to clear his name and he was saying his keyboard, which is also named Ducky, funny.
Yeah.
I guess it had a macro which kept on pressing his D key at regular intervals or something like that, and I think that's why their team got removed from the tournament. But like I said, if you want to follow it along, there's a link in the description for that. And I mean, when there's a tournament like this called the Meraki Major, and then there is a team from Meraki, there's obviously going to be someone who says, yo, they're going to match fix, they're going to try and rig so that the Meraki team wins. Did you guys hear anything along those lines?
I mean, like, they got disqualified, so you can see, like, the organization did everything so they don't. Nothing like that actually happens, even though there was no proper proof yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the org did it pretty well, and yeah, just. I think the best thing would have been disqualifying them, because if not, it could have happened to more problems for the organization itself. Because, yeah, people don't know yet what really happened. So, yeah, I think to keep the name clear, or yeah, they should have just. I think they did it pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll just remind everyone that on social media, once you post something on the internet, it's pretty much there forever. So be careful of what you say. And two, like Odin was saying, Twitter is just about banter. It's about the drama. And there are people who are there simply for that. There are people who thrive in the chaos. They're not on the side of the oppressor, they're not on the side of the oppressed. They don't come to bring peace. They just want to light a fire under everyone's chair, basically. So, you can't take it too personally what people say, because I feel like the banter that was going on between ATK and Memento Mori, it was all friendly, in competition, the competitors always trash talk each other. But there's some people who were kind of, I guess, blowing it out of proportion and saying, I don't know, James is being kind of cocky and being rude. It's just banter. So
I
yeah.
mean, James was being cocky, but that's like on purpose. Because I mean he was, but it's like all banter between friendly teams.
Yeah.
And like we and MM, we scrimmed each other twice a week, and so we're all friends,
Mm-hmm.
and we play each other all the time. And if we would seriously like not like each other, that would never happen.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was just like yeah, like building a character, building a storyline, and I feel like that helped to the fact. And then Memento Mori actually winning just helped that the storyline was just better.
For sure, for sure. Okay, we'll move on to the next little section, which I'm calling Rainbow Six ZA News. So, the Rainbow Six scene in South Africa has been very active of late. I feel more active than it ever has been, because almost as soon as the Meraki Major concluded, well, the Vanguard New Human Open started and it's going on right now. You can drop on by and watch the games, the pool stages as they continue. And not only that, there's also a new um, event that's being called the Mettlestate Pro Series and Open Series. Well, the Open Series concluded because I think it was over only one day, but they said they would open it so that more people have more time to participate. So, what do you guys think of these events and the Rainbow Six scene currently? Odin, go ahead.
Well, I think it's great to have a lot of tournaments and leagues, especially that like a league, because tournaments and everything are nice, but like a league can prove the long time performance of teams,
Mm-hmm.
and like this will also like help teams that, for example, in a tournament didn't perform to like keep practicing, because like tournament usually lasts like maximum 2 to 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
The league usually lasts like a month or more, and that's great to see. Because then you also like get weekly. I think they're gonna stream it, so we get like weekly games. Like for example, like they do in Pro League. Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Tom?
Yeah, it's great to see like the Siege community growing and more tournaments happening and more chances to win, and everything just going stronger and better, and the competition is better, and it's not always the same team winning, and so it's more interesting to watch. And the production quality, as we saw with the Meraki Major and now also with the Vanguard tournament, is really high. So that's great to see. It's easier to watch that way. So yeah, it's just a great change to the whole community in itself.
I 100% agree with the both of you. Another thing that I like about there being so many events is that there are now more VODs. So the teams that want to practice against whichever team, or yeah, let's put it that way, a team that would like to practice against any other team, if there are enough VODs, the team can get enough time to, look at their opposition, look at their competition, see how they play, and kind of prepare themselves for that. Because in the pre-tournament show for the Vanguard New Human Open, a couple of the captains were speaking to were saying that what's really challenging for them is that, despite the fact that the scene is growing and there are new teams coming in, it's also a double-edged sword in that when there's a new team that you have to play against, you have no idea how they play, so you'll be going in blind. And just the fact that over time there are going to be more and more events, there are going to be more and more VODs for, coaches such as yourself, Tom, to watch over and prepare themselves adequately. And I think that's something you particularly will appreciate.
Yeah, definitely. That gives us the opportunity to like analyze player, like teams and their tendencies, so we can adapt both our attack and defense strategies. And it's a great change. Like more VOS has always been a problem. There was like the stuff that you could watch was always like a month old or more, and so much can change then. So most of the info for the Meraki Major, for example, we had from the one game against MM, for example, we had from their one game against Odyssey, and then just from scrims. But I mean, scrimming doesn't really show how a team really plays, only what they're trying to do and what they're trying to test. So it was really challenging. So it's great to see new teams get VODs as well, so they also get their name out there, and the community grows, and then even more banter can happen on Twitter, so that storylines grow again. So it's
sure.
just great to see.
For sure. You know what's great to see is Kanye Diffuse, who's a caster. I think he's affiliated with Titan Gaming, although I don't know if he's independent now. He's a caster, and he was casting the Meraki Major. He's also got a podcast and he's calling it Chats with Kanye. So, as the scene continues to grow, um, it's awesome to see that there is growth in not just events, but also, content like this, a podcast where, you can talk about Siege in whatever format, in whatever style, in whatever perspective you feel needs to be talked about. So, a link to that will be in the description, by the way. So check him out. Say Olympus sent you. But um, I had something that I had on the tip of my tongue, but it's gone. Oh yeah, the whole reason that I started this podcast is that I felt there was a gap in terms of, I guess, how can I put this properly? I felt like there was space for Rainbow Six Siege to be talked about, but with the African setting in mind, because a lot of the content creators who create for Siege are based in, the US, the EU, wherever they're based, but I don't see much of this kind of thing, in Africa, talking about the problems we face in Africa, such as such as load shedding and stuff like that. So that's why I started this whole thing, and I really appreciate the support I've been receiving. Currently, my channel is on 100 subs, so that's great. Thank you, everyone.
And
Um,
basically, you guys as the content creators, like you promote these tournaments. Like for example, me came into South Africa. I had literally no idea there was any link here. Like I had no clue about any one of the players here. And the only way I realized I met people is like playing a lot of ranked here. But now, like if you grow as South Africans or generally sub-Saharan African people, then you can also like promote the league, all us as players and everything. Because like I googled South African tournaments in Rainbow Six, I couldn't find anything. But now people, if they actually Google that, they will probably find something. For
yeah,
example, a podcast of you or whatever.
yeah, for sure. This is a question I kind of ask all the guests on my podcast. What do you think could be done to improve the South African esports and the Siege scene in particular? Tom, what are your thoughts?
Mm, that's a difficult question
I know, right?
because,
That's why I ask
of
everyone
course,
that question.
people are already trying to do that,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like they're succeeding, as we see with the new tournaments and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I feel like what the players can do is play the game, play with a competitive mindset, then will behave as if they were already professional players, and that way the whole community grows, gets more professional, new organizations come in, and through that the whole scene grows, and then in the future we might even be a new sub-region in Pro League or whatever.
Ye-
And that would be absolutely amazing, but it's just right now it's very difficult to do anything because of some
Mm-hmm.
of the problems that we face.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just stay grinding, motivated, don't cheat, don't be harmful towards others, don't rage on Twitter. A bit of banter is okay, a bit of drama is okay, but like at some point it becomes unprofessional and it takes away from the fun of the game, which why we're all here in the end.
Yeah, definitely. As one of the people who's kind of in the, I guess, administration side, or I'm acquainted with the administration side of hosting the New Human Open. One of the challenges we are facing is that when you want to grow the scene, a couple of concerns from the community is that, if you have a prize pool, it makes it more enticing for people to participate, because who doesn't like money? The problem with that is, if you say you want to set up a prize pool, like you say, the challenges we're facing, one of them is that we're not really financed, really. So we're kind of doing all these things out of our own pockets. And in order to have a prize pool, well, you have to look for a sponsor, and we're thankful to New Human for agreeing to sponsor this event. So either you look for a sponsor or you set up an entry fee for each team, which is, or you do both, which is what we've done. Now, when you set up an entry fee, the very people who are saying, hey, there should be a prize pool, are the very people who don't want to pay the entry fee. And it's just like, what more do you want? What do you want us to do, you know? But, hopefully, as you say, we grow into a sub-region, maybe get some recognition from Ubisoft and some sponsors, like you're saying, Odin, when people when teams such as Memento Mori decided to participate in this event, they were looking to get picked up by an organization, by a sponsor. So hopefully over time that kind of thing continues to happen so that we can improve the quality of the tournaments we host and we can grow the scene and everyone is happy. But for now we have to deal with people who don't pay the entry fee. It's kind of a bummer actually.
Like, I don't understand, it's like nothing big. Like, how much was it per person? Like 20 rand, right?
Yeah, it was 100 rand per team, so 20 per person.
I mean, that's not that much. And if you like, even if you think you're gonna lose or not get far away, you still get nice experience to improve on. And I think 20 rand per person is really like not that high.
Yeah, it's not asking for much.
I mean, all of them have probably like pretty good PCs, so I don't think they can't afford it. I'm pretty sure they can.
In my opinion, the only people who don't want to pay an entry fee are those who don't think they can win.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, in reality, that's it, right? Because if you think, oh yeah, I'm gonna win this tournament easy, if you play the lottery and it's 7 numbers and it's only 7 numbers you can choose, then you're gonna play the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
But
Definitely.
as the chances get worse and worse, you're less likely to invest money into something. But I mean, of course, if you want to have a prize pool, then you also need to take some of then you also need to pay something or create sponsors or whatever. So yeah, it's a challenge for sure.
It's definitely a challenge. Sticking to the topic of money, I would have loved for Stefan to be here, Stefan from Repress Esports, to be here so that he can tell us a little bit about this in detail. But they announced on their Twitter that they would be donating 1,000 rand from what they won in the prize pool to Lifeline, which is a mental health institution in the Western Cape. And that is commendable, to say the very least. So congratulations to Repress for winning, 1, and for 2, donating to such a worthy and noble cause as mental health. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, right? Let me just Google that real quick, actually. Okay. Oh, it's Mental Health Day today. Yeah, that's why I was seeing it on my socials. Yeah, 10th of October every day is Mental Health Day, according to the World Health Organization. So it's only fitting that I mentioned Repress made that gracious donation. And this leads me to something I feel like is very important to talk about. As gamers, as a content creator myself, as a coach, I'm sure that the nature of the work we do is very tasking. Especially a game like Siege, it can get very mentally demanding. So finding a work-life balance is always important, and this is something that I personally am struggling with. If there's, say, a video I'm trying to edit, I go into overdrive mode where I just get into the zone, and then I find that I've been sitting for like 3 hours straight without taking a break. which is definitely not healthy. Don't do that at all. But like I was saying, finding that balance is very crucial. So, um, Tom, I don't know if you could kind of tell us what your thoughts are on that whole topic. Whether there's anything you kind of struggle with in terms of finding that work-life balance with Siege.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like, I work full time, so 8 hours a day, from 8 till 6, and then I come home, I eat dinner for 30 minutes, and then I start coaching.
Wow.
Yeah, and but the way we planned our entire week is that we always have the weekend off. Normally that's for tournaments and stuff, but it's also just to relax and like get your mind back on point. But then because I work so much with strategies, the coaching doesn't stop as soon as I quit the game. When I turn off my computer, it's not like, oh yeah, now I'm not coaching anymore, because my mind still thinks of all the strategies and stuff that we could do and stuff that we could improve and how to communicate that to the players and all different things. And as an example, I can give 2 days ago, me and my team were dry running, and then about 9:30 we were done. But then I stayed to make new strats till 11.
Wow.
And everybody else went off or went to play a different game or had fun, and I stayed. But that's dedication. You need to be on top. That's what you need to do, and that's what we weren't doing before the Meraki major, and that's why we lost, because we didn't invest enough time. But then in the end, bringing it back to mental health, that's very straining. So you need a good backup system. You need to have the ability to say, okay, no, I can't do this today. And I'm lucky because with my team, if I can't do something that day, if I need time to rest, I can just say, okay, boys, I can't today. And they accept it and they wish me like happiness or whatever. So in the end, it's very nice to be in such a team that supports me but also listens to me, and it makes my work easier.
Yeah, definitely. A support system is definitely very crucial in life, in whichever aspect, not only being a gamer. Odin, I don't know about you, but I have a really busy schedule.
Same for me. Like now with school again, I go to school from 8, mostly from 8 to 3, 4, and then I come back pretty exhausted, and yeah, then like you need to do like home things, like going out with the dog, I don't know, eat, things like that. And then like you don't have that much time left if you like with homework and studying a part of that. Well, I don't study that much. Maybe I should do, but yeah, it's pretty exhausting for me too. Like I know I invest a lot of time in this game, and that's basically all I do in my free time if it's not school. Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I'm a student as well, and on my busiest days, I have classes from 9 a.m. To 5:10 p.m. In the middle of the day, I have about a 2-hour break, but then in the evening I work out, and then after that I have to deal with the home stuff. You're talking about chores, cooking, etc. And then sometimes I have a meeting with Vanguard because I'm a caster. For those of you who didn't know, I'm a caster with Vel. And then sometimes I have to start practice with my team, and it's just like sometimes it's too much. And
Yeah, for sure. Like
yeah,
and like we usually scrim like we start at 7 more or less, and then we finish more or less at 10. Depends how the scrims go. But for me, like how Tom said, for me and the coach, like I keep working. Like I start even before 7 most of the times, and I work until I don't know 12 or something, and then at 12 I start studying for exam the next day until like 3 or something. And yeah, sometimes the time schedule gets really like fucked up.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm like Tom said, he can control himself. I can if I need to do something. If I see I need to do strats.
Mm-hmm.
If I actually think of something, like right now, in the meantime of talking with you, I'm doing strats right now because
Wow.
I cannot stop. And that's like, for example, for the Meraki tournament against ATK, I was like, I don't know, just 40 minutes practicing one nade, bro. One specific nade throw, just to get it perfectly done. And I know I have huge problems with not investing the time in it. But yeah, at the end it's working out, so nothing to worry until it doesn't work out.
I can definitely say that a lesson to all of us, a lesson to me and to all of us watching is that listen to your body. When it gets to a point, okay, for me, it gets to a point where physically I feel like I cannot play because I'm just tired, and if I know how sweaty how sweaty Siege can get and how emotional and how tilted you can get. And I don't know, man. Is this game and no other game where if I die, I feel terrible, especially if I die to stuff like Pika's Advantage, where you're behind a wall and you feel so frustrated and you die, and you're like 3-0 down, and it gets to a point where it's just like I'm not having fun with Siege anymore. Listen to your body. Just take a break and make sure you get enough sleep. Sleep is very important for you. So while we're still talking about lessons learned, let's wrap it back to the Meraki Major. What lessons did ATK take away from the Meraki Major?
Well, as you probably seen, we announced roster changes.
Mm-hmm.
I think, what was it, yesterday?
Mm-hmm. You guys
Or 2
picked
days
up
ago?
AML and Pancake, yeah?
Yes, so we picked up 2 players from MM. So if you can't beat them, make them join you.
Mm-hmm.
No, but that's not it. The point wasn't because, oh yeah, they're from Meraki, so they must be good. We had our eye on them for a long time, and we had to split ways with one of our players because he couldn't invest as much time as we needed him to.
Mm-hmm.
And then Liam, the other player, he just wasn't 18 yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as we plan to, as we plan to continue, everybody needs to be 18, so that we can play in the official tournaments and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just why we decided we needed to change something. And then I myself decided, okay, we need to put more work in. We need to put more work in strategies and dry running. Scrimming 5 times a week is good and all, but in the end, if you just have one strat per side per map, that doesn't do any good if you know it perfectly, because then a Memento Mori with a Odin can come and just counter strat it completely, and then we have no chance. So yeah.
Yeah. So, you got players from Memento Mori, and Memento Mori also got some new players. Do you mind giving us the new roster, Odin?
Well, our 4th player who replaces AML will be Leventis from ATK. Basically exchange the players.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And our 5th player is someone we all should already know about. It's Julian Enjoy. He was our old captain. He was our old entry fragger, and he decided to come back and be a king again.
The return of the king.
Yeah, basically.
One thing I really enjoy about, I guess, despite the small size of the South African scene, one thing I enjoy is that there's so much cross pollination between teams because ATK and MM basically swapped players.
Yeah, we had no choice. Like, we couldn't choose anything else. We learned our lesson that money rules the world. So, yeah, sadly, it is like that. But yeah, I wish best of luck to Pancake and AML.
Yeah, I also like that there's no bad blood between any of the teams where if like one person switches teams, it's not like he's betrayed his old team or anything like that. it's just awesome to have a non-toxic and wholesome community. So, I was good. The question I had prepared here is, what's the next tournament you guys are planning on participating in? But I don't need to ask Top that because you guys are in our Vanguard Esports League, New Human Open. Um, were you impressed? Were you satisfied with your first performance playing against ADG?
Um, I mean, we didn't know what team, like what's the type of team we're playing against.
Mm-hmm.
So like before the game, we joked around like that it's G2 coming to South Africa to play a tournament,
Mm-hmm.
and like to get in the right mindset. But then in the end, we won 7-5. So in the end, it all worked out. But we're really impressed with like the performance of the teams, even the not well-known teams, because ADG, I personally have never heard of them before this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, what is this team? But now they really played well, and of course there were some mistakes from our side, but we were punished from them, and that's great to see. So, but in the end, I'm happy we started with the new players on Thursday, and then yesterday we had the first game. So yeah, I mean, for that short time, it's a good performance. I
Yeah,
expect it to only go up from here.
yeah, definitely. I was just amazed by some of the shots that Kosa and Pancake were landing yesterday. Absolutely cracked players. Um, okay, how about Memento Mori? What future tournaments are you guys planning on participating in?
Got invited in the new Mettlestate League
Mm-hmm.
that starts. So like I think it starts next week. So that's the thing. Like we had, I know, 4 days because today is like the roster lock. So we had to get our full roster done until today. So yeah, we had small time to choose for players, and that's how we got our new roster done. I
Oh,
think our first match will be next Tuesday or Thursday. I'm not sure.
okay, okay. We've come to the last question. What are you guys planning on doing with the prize money you won from the Meraki Major? If you've already done something with the money, do you mind letting us know what it was?
Basically, just split it between 5 players.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we did. So
Okay.
everyone can like, I don't know, buy some food, whatever they want.
How about
I'm pretty
80k?
sure Emil is gonna buy some KFC.
How about 80k?
Yeah, we split it between our 7 members,
Mm-hmm.
and like I have nothing planned for it. Just put it in the bank account and wait. Spend it when it's needed.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
We have come to the end of episode 3 of the OlymPodcast, the Meraki Major Edition. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in. Today has been kind of a different audience because I usually have so many questions in the chat and a lot of comments on the discussion, but I guess not so much today. Thank you everyone who's tuned in. Thank you Alexia who says, I'm not sure if I've ever pronounced his name correctly. He says, very impressive podcast. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who's been here from the beginning. Thank you so much to my 2 amazing guests, Tom and Odin. You guys are the bomb. Any last words? Any parting shots? Anything you'd like to plug? Anything you'd like to say to the fans?
I would say, Tom, ATK, be prepared to lose against us again and again and again.
Uh-oh.
And
Uh-oh.
again. I will make sure that you don't win anytime soon against us.
Oh.
Ooh, now, Odin, you got lucky once. It's not gonna happen again.
You will enjoy to get flashed. Your team will enjoy to get playing.
Yeah, we're just gonna ban the Ying. then you have no chance.
Let me take
Yeah, but we play Chachanka.
we banned it, huh?
Okay, yeah. No, but I want to say, like, a big thank you to all the fans, to all the people that support us along the way, to all the nice comments that we as a team received on Twitter during that whole backlash towards us because of us being cocky. But yeah, now I'm really happy to, after spending such a long time in Europe, to finally be in a community that's really great and supporting each other and bantering, and it's great to see. Thank you.
Okay, thank you once again for sparing your time to appear on the OlymPodcast. That's going to be it from all of us here. Cheers, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of the day.